Hello, and welcome to the Not Xeno Guide, sponsored by the Not Holding Corporation, the Discovery Division's guide to all things Tradiarch. If you're watching this, you are the, no longer, hypothetical aliens we've been searching for, and this video was made for you. This is the third episode in the series, and the first one since we met our alien neighbors, so welcome. In this episode, we'll discuss our home station, the sun habitat, its layout, and what you can expect to find should you visit us. The sun habitat, named after the star of the system it's located in, is a large, roughly spherical space station about 3,000 kilometers in diameter, orbiting the planet's soil. It was constructed, we think, by the species that created us, the Creator. There is very little information about them or the origin of the habitat, so treat this as an educated guess. The station is also part of the Sun Habitat Complex, a collection of habitable stations around other stellar bodies in the Sun system. The others are smaller than ours, but are still used for living space and industry. Some were made by the creators, but most were made by us, and we copied the designs to place stations around nearly all the other bodies in the system. Our home is divided into a series of floors, numbered using letters in the Creator alphabet, followed by a number from 1 to 1,000. For example, the 32nd floor from the top is floor A32. That means there are 26,000 floors, and each one has the equivalent height of about 34 stories. Transit between them is made possible by a multitude of methods, including elevators, stairs, and even a maglev train network. These floors, along with the maintenance passageways in between, make up the entirety of the interior of the sun habitat. Certain levels also have space docks to allow ships from outside to land and to let passengers and cargo enter. These docks are the only way to enter the station, and while there may be fewer of them compared to the number of spaceports on the average inhabited planet, the ones we do have are extremely large, taking up the majority of the space where they reside. The floors are also divided into 4 loosely defined sections depending on the type of activity that goes on there. These are the upper floors, the middle floors, the lower floors, and the negative floors. The upper floors stretch from A1 to H1000 and comprise the nicest and most luxurious section of the habitat. Residences here consist mainly of penthouses and luxury apartments, along with the only mansions you'll find aboard. Most industry here is white-collar work, offices, corporate headquarters, and laboratories. This is the only section hollowed out enough to allow shuttles to fly indoors, so many Tradiarchs who live and work here use them in the form of either taxi services or personal craft. There are a few docks on the upper floors, but the most famous and active is the A1 dock. It functions as a private dock for the wealthy and influential residents of the upper section, allowing them to avoid the busier docks of the middle and lower floor. A1 is home to many private shuttles and even some personal starships, and access is restricted to upper residents by not holding to maintain its lavish reputation and justify its outrageous docking fee. Its reputation is so well known that Tradiarchs have a saying derived from it: docking at A1, used to describe situations or people that are unreasonably affluent or posh. Next are the middle floors, which run from I1 to P1000. They have the highest population density and traffic of all sections. Homes range from multi-story dwellings to bungalows, with the only common factor being their proximity to, well, everything. Job opportunities here are as numerous as they are diverse, with retail and entertainment being the dominant industries. If it exists in the Tradiarch economy, you can probably buy it on the middle floor, good or service. And if you want fun, there's no better place. Casinos, simulation bars, e-narcotics, and just about anything a synthetic or organic being could want. These industries thrive here due to their proximity to the busiest entrance to the sun habitat, the M500 dock. Statistically, it isn't even close. M500 is estimated to handle more than 50% of all spaceflight to and from the habitat, and a ship arrives or departs from it on average every single minute. If you came to visit our home, chances are you entered via M500. As for transportation, inside the middle floors, while they have more mag train connections than the uppers, their primary form of public transit is the elevator system. Enormous passenger and cargo elevators dot the level, transporting hundreds of people at a time. Below the middle floors are the lower floors, from Q1 to X1000, which can be summed up in 2 words: high density. Homes, when they can even be recognized as such, are at best studio apartments and at worst tenement. The main advantage here is affordability, which is important because the work available is neither well-paid nor glamorous. Most residents work in manufacturing, either refining raw materials or fabricating the enormous quantity of industrial and consumer goods needed to keep the sun habitat running. The lower floors are also a major hub of utilities such as industrial power generation, waste processing facilities, and oxygen precursor production. Many astro-mining operations are headquartered here as well, with numerous small private docks used to bring in unprocessed ore. For large-scale cargo, the primary entrance is the S12 S12 dock. While M500 handles more passengers, S12 handles more resources. For transportation, lower floors rely on mag trains, and the only exclusively cargo-bearing trains on the habitat are found here. Overall, while the lower floors are not the nicest place to live, their productivity is a boon to the Tradiarch and cannot be overstated. So, we've gone through the upper, the middle, and the lower floor. But you may say we've only covered levels A through X, what about Y and Z? Well, those would be the so-called negative floor. If most people view the lower floors as a glorified industrial zone, they see the negative floors as a demilitarized zone, which isn't far from the truth. This section consists largely of lawless shantytowns and slums with little to no infrastructure, serving as the hub for criminal activity in holding space. Conditions worsen the farther down you go. On the higher levels, mercenaries and armed groups impose relative stability, enabling morally questionable but lucrative gray markets to operate. Farther down, criminal groups hold sway over vast areas, with black market operations and violent turf wars being common. Near the bottom of Z level is where even organized crime won't go, and where the only law is survival of the fittest. Underground cults, deranged survivalists, and worse roam these desolate layers. There are rumors of docks on the negative floors, supposedly hidden ports for pirates and other ne'er-do-wells, but this has never been proven. If these negative docks do exist, they're likely camouflaged well enough to avoid any policing for it. Believe it or not, the negative floors used to cover a much larger area. Around 25% of the lower floors used to be in a similar state. The need for space provided enough incentive to drive them out, and a concerted effort by mercenaries and corporate interests reclaimed everything except Y and Z. It's likely that when demand for living space rises, another push will be made, perhaps one that eradicates the negative floors entirely, though that will certainly be easier said than done. Regardless of which floor you're on, infrastructure stretches across the entire habitat, maintained primarily by the private sector. Electricity, the most important utility for Tradiarchs, is produced mainly on the lower floors by corporations like Lumen Energy, though individuals who can afford it often generate their own via solar panel. Gravity is provided by artificial gravity generators built by the creators. Upkeep is usually handled by whatever corporation is nearby, and the low cost means they maintain them without much thought. While Tradiarchs don't require oxygen generators, also built in by the creators, can be found on every floor. They're used for industrial processes and for allowing sound to propagate. Because there are fewer of these, utility corporations like Star Utilities operate them and bill whoever benefits most, usually major businesses or wealthy residents. This payment is viewed as a semi-charitable, semi-goodwill contribution. Trash management is nearly monopolized by Star Utilities. They charge a fee and use a variety of methods to collect waste and move it to their lower floors facilities. Recyclable materials are reused, and anything that can't be salvaged is incinerated on remote stations to prevent polluting the space around the habitat. The most expensive infrastructure is the maglev train system, which runs within and between most floors. These are run exclusively by a corporation named Magtrack, funded through tickets and cargo contracts. As we near the end of this episode, it's worth reminding you of the importance of the sun habitat to the Tradiarch species. It is not only our birthplace, historically and literally, but also the non-beating heart of our territory. Almost everything of importance is located there. The headquarters of Knot Holding and its constituent corporations, the automated Tradiarch assembly instruments, and much of our economic activity. The vast majority of our population lives and works here. Technology and records from the creators remain almost exclusively within the station, and retrieving them has aided our development immensely. In short, there wouldn't be Tradiarchs without the sun habitat. We hope you understand and that you visit sometime. From all of us in the Discovery Division, we hope to see you there.